Hello, good morning. We're going to be doing a leg day today. I did want to explain a few things before we get into it. So what we're going to be doing is 7 different exercises. None of these exercises are going to be performed superset, tri-set, or circuit style today. So we're going to pick one movement. We're going to go through each of the sets, and then once we finish those sets, we're not going back to it. We're going to move on to the next thing. So I'm going to be explaining the form for each of the movements, but what I want you to do is after I go over a movement, pause the video, complete all the sets, and then unpause the video and then continue to the next exercise. So to customize this workout for yourself, you're doing between 3 to 5 sets of each movement. If you're more of a beginner, go to that 3 set range for all of the exercises. And if you're more advanced, go for the 5 set of those exercises. Take as much rest as you need in between each set. Again, we're just going to keep pausing the video. So the first movement that we're going to be doing, and again, I'm going to be going over all of the forms, so also make sure that you get some music on during this workout. So here's a little bit of a better look of the workout. We're going to start off with hip thrusts, then we're going to head into goblet squats, sumo deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, lying hamstring curl, elevated glute bridge, and then finishing off with fire hydrants. So right here, I'm getting into that hip thrust. You can use a band, a dumbbell. You don't even need any weight at all. Just make sure you have a chair or a higher surface like a couch that you can rest your upper back on. Notice here that I'm tucking my chin in. I want to look straight ahead the entire way through, and I'm moving through my hips here, right? I'm going to dig my heels down, push down with my heels, and push my hips up. I'm not lifting up with my chest here. Also, what you can do is you can point your toes out slightly. Make sure those heels are directly underneath the knees. That way you get the most glute activation here. If you move your legs further away, you get more hamstring activation, and I want you to try to go for more glute for this movement here. We're going to be giving a lot of attention to the hamstrings later. So next off, we're going to go into goblet squats. Again, you can use some bands or dumbbells. We're going to go in with 15 reps here. Again, you're going to point your toes out, keep your feet a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, and you're going to push up through the heels. Your core is braced and tight the entire way through. And I'm going to show you the front angle here. As you notice, my knees are going outward. As we continue these goblet squats, I wanted to read a little quote here by Dr. Joseph Murphy. He says, "You are the captain of your soul and the master of your fate. Remember, you have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose health, and choose happiness." And that's what we did today, guys. We started off by choosing health. Okay, so next movement here, we have a sumo deadlift. For this one, if you don't have any weight, just go into a sumo squat, but we're going to be doing 15 reps here. Notice I have my heels pointed in and my toes pointed very far out here, just like a sumo wrestler. I'm going to show you another angle here. I'm bringing my hips back, squeezing my glutes at the top here, making sure I'm getting that engagement with my glute. Also making sure as I bend my knee that my knee stays on top of my heel. Next, we're moving on to one of my favorite movements here. It's that Bulgarian split squat. If you're not as advanced, that back leg, put it on a lower surface, like a little step stool. Notice I just leaned forward. That way I get a little bit more glute and hamstring activation. If I keep my chest upright, I will get more quad. Also wanting to make sure that I'm using my front leg mostly. That back leg is just there for balance, but we want to make sure that we're pushing off through the heel with that front leg. You're going to keep your core super tight, right? It is a one leg movement, so we want to make sure that we're balanced here. Again, we have 10 reps on this one on each side. So now I'm going to be switching over here to that other leg. For this movement, I've decided to do a total of 4 sets, but again, if you're more advanced, do 5 sets, and if you're not as advanced, do 3 or 2 sets on each leg. So now we're going in on that other side here. If you want to make this movement even more tough, what you can do is you can take your time on your way down and then use a little bit more speed on the way up. That is what controlling a negative is. So in the part that we're lengthening that glute, we're going to take it a little bit slower, and then we're going to push up regular speed. Okay, so we're going to be heading into that next movement here. This is a lying hamstring curl. So what I did was I put the dumbbell in between my feet, and from here I'm going to squeeze my legs together and squeeze my feet together. That way that dumbbell doesn't fall down. Also with this movement, what you can do is you can put a little towel underneath your hips to make it a little bit more comfortable. So you just fold up a towel, a blanket, a mat, and you would put it right underneath the hips here. You want to take this movement very slow on the way down. You want to control it and really focus on squeezing that hamstring here. It's a little bit of a tough movement, right? We're trying to keep that dumbbell from falling, so it does take some more concentration. You can also see that I'm on my forearms here. My chest is up. I'm kind of just looking at the ground, not looking up, not straining my neck. For this one, I did 15 reps here. And again, I'm going in with 4 sets for this movement. If you have ankle weights, you can also use them as well. Our next movement here is another hamstring movement. What we're going to be doing is some elevated glute bridges. So as you can see, I have my heels on an elevated surface. Right here I'm using a chair. Also, I'm going to keep my back as straight as I possibly can. So I'm going to keep my core super duper tight and make sure that when I'm lifting up with my hips. 15 reps here. But also make sure that you challenge yourself a little bit. You can do that by not letting your hips rest all the way on the mat. Again, just keeping that constant tension in the hamstrings here. Now we're going to go into some fire hydrants. I know we did this earlier last week, but what you're going to do is you're getting into tabletop position here. Tabletop position, you want to have your hands directly underneath your shoulders, keeping your arms straight. And then you also want to have your knees directly underneath your hips. You literally want to look like a table. We're working the glute here, and what you're going to do is you're going to bring your knee out to the side. This is a really good one if you have a band or some ankle weights. You can definitely use that here. I want to give you a little bit of a Q-tip. When you're bringing your knee up, bring it up as high as you can, but when you bring it back down, don't bring it too close to that other knee. You want to try to keep as much constant tension as you can on that glute. Hopefully you completed all of your sets here. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.